game got snowballing. So, do we want to see the Ari again? I don't even want to talk anymore. Okay, whatever.
Well, at least GAM fixed that problem. But
This is unbelievable. How? How? People, please. Why is Wukong open again? Why? And they get Nautilus too. Well,
why?
it's a wrap.
Because his place is at the top. He says it all the time. He will be the best. We know it. And yeah, here he gets to play on the Rift again. I mean, GAM at side switching this time. They go for blue side, of course. So, theory, they would enforce a Wukong red side ban in the first rotation. But SBTC is like, nah, can't have it. Either way, Wukong will survive yet again. And yeah, one hell of a surprise for sure. Either way, this notice as well for the side of GAM. So, SBTC didn't even get this one on their outside this time. And also didn't get Rakan, which is something that, yeah, GAM maybe feared in the last draft, where they were first picking the Rakan in potential paranoia that maybe it would get locked in by the SBTC side. So they aren't really getting any kind of W in the draft so far.
So, I mean, I like, you're not gonna really want to take the Rakan into the Nautilus anyway, so because that's just not a fantastic matchup. So we might end up seeing the Braum come out, which is not that bad, but this is just game one's draft currently coming. This is just a repeat of game one. Are we actually sure this is game four? Because this is alarmingly similar.
And nothing stops GAM from just banning the Braum right now, right?
Yeah, I think everyone just forgot about the series. The last 3 games happened before dinner break, so they just had a really, really nice dinner all together, and they're coming in fresh. So no surprise we're going to be getting a rerun from game number 1. No, in all seriousness, this is utterly ridiculous. I do not understand what coaches are for in League anymore, because apparently not for pick and ban phase, that's for sure.
Well, I mean,
and it's your favorite two coaches from VCS.
Hanket's at least figured out, has at least basic pattern recognition, has realized Nautilus and Wukong pretty good. Well, we have to see where they want to lock in. I imagine support comes in for Palette right now, safe counter pick for Dia.
Just Braum, yeah. Just pick Braum. Could pick Set to please Carrix a little bit, but it will be the Braum, hopefully. But they actually self-counter pick themselves again. It's a Rakan, we talked about it before, but it is a strong pick in general. But we were saying how Nautilus is the support MVP today because he is strong against picks like the Rakan especially, and they just pick it anyway. So SBTC not really respecting the bot lane whatsoever. I mean, of course they won all 3 lanes, but you still shouldn't shoot yourself in the foot in the draft department. So I'm really angry about this yet again.
So they won by playing through the bot side, and now they picked themselves a bad bot lane matchup. Like, if you went Braum and then at least brought Vi down and continued to play through bot lane, that would have at least worked, made some sense. You were still picking a good matchup, but I don't know. I don't. The Rakan signals to me you're not looking to play through lane at all in bot sides, which means you either need to slam dunk this mid lane matchup, or I guess you're trying to play through Gwen again, but that's still a bit of a risk because you need that early point of power, and I don't think Rakan Vi is that. Maybe Silas is, but
yeah, that's just a Silas angle, right? It's now and Lissandra. I mean, you definitely give great ultimates. Also, like the Cyclone and the Death Charge are great ultimates as well. Yeah, this is definitely a Silas angle, not even with Mage Seeker coming out. I mean, not just to please characters over there. Either way, it could have been a Malphite on the side of GAM, and I wonder why they banned the Ari when they actually picked Sandra anyway. But overall, solid draft from GAM, I gotta say. At least the Silas is at least a little bit of a saving grace for SBC, in my opinion, because he has a very strong choice of ultimate over there.
Yeah, Gnar Silas, this is legendary, right? The old 2019 meta when the Silas just is the better Gnar. So that's quite a strong thing to have on the lineup for SBTC. What do you think about these drafts, Marby? Let's start with you. Do you think GAM fixed their problems? I mean, they did pick Wukong, so
GAM definitely has pattern recognition. They basically just, I think outside the Gnar, it's the same as game 1, so it's pretty comfortable. It's looking pretty comfortable for them. Like jungle down is all fine. The Gnar could be a problem. It can, like, my problem with Gnar, especially at this point, is he's only a champion half the time, so can be caught up pretty quickly. And And I mean, there's lots of opportunities for a Silas pop-off, so maybe Dia can carry, but I would lean towards GAM.
And Currency, before we go into the game, what is your prediction? Do you think SBTC can continue on their path to the reverse sweep?
No, Wukong is locked in for GAM. It's Wukong for 0 this time. So, congratulations, GAM.
Well, Wukong's unbeaten in the series, and he's once again on the GAM side, so Kerriggs and Rebel, please lead us through this 4th game to see if the Monkey King can get the crown.
Well, we have to wonder why he's still allowed to monkey around, but they have changed up at least something. Funnily enough, they did go to Silas. I suggested that half as a joke, because he got a video game recently. But unironically, this is actually a really good position for Silas. He really thrives against GAM's team. He has really good setup from his team. Dia 1 has the potential to carry this game. Unfortunately, Wukong exists.
Yes, Wukong makes life difficult because Wukong obviously runs the very opening of the game and everything kind of coming through. The only complaint I had about GAM's composition was the Gnar, not as a Mobby hater, not as a Gnar hater, just because I don't think it's fantastic into Gwen. Not that I'm saying it's bad into Gwen, I'm just saying that I don't think it's great. And I think there were better picks that you could have taken with the assumption that Dia 1 was going to go Silas, because I think after having picked Lysandra, that was a very obvious pick that could come through here from the side of SBTCE. So I mean, like the Gnar kind of was just candy on top of everything else, but I would have loved to see Set in this position. I think Set has been crushing. I think it's gotten a lot stronger in the last couple of patches. I think it's good into Gwen. And if Silas comes dashing in, or if Vi comes dashing in, you just pull him right back out. And then the rest of your team's chilling, right? Like, there's no dive onto style. You can't do anything with Lysandra. There's nothing to be done.
Music to my ears, Rebel, suggesting a Set pick.
A Set and a Silas and a Kindred would have sent you over, but thank you did all of it at once.
Oh, immediate engage onto Style. They ignite him at level 1, just trying to get early lane prio. Slater trying to fire back. Now they're in trouble because the lethal tempos proc. Paulette's going to go down. Ooh, that's a disaster, but now Slater can try and fight back. He needs to get a kill at least onto Zin, but now it's going to be 2 kills given away. He desperately needs level 2. He gets the double kill before he dies.
Holy, okay. Very, very last second steal from Slater, being able to pull 2 kills in exchange for just the 1. The first blood went over to Zin, which is a positive thing, but at minimum, it is not a full disaster coming out from SBTC. If they lose both bot laners and a kill goes on to Style and Zin, the lane is basically dead. But Slater getting both is huge. It is resilience coming out from SBTC's bot lane.
Yeah, and I the fact that the kills aren't split, Slater nearly makes a huge play here. He was praying for level 2 because he was actually going to be able to E out, but in the end, this is just a bit of a clown fiesta.
Yeah, I gotta see exactly what happened because Slater, he's playing around with vision, which could have made a bit of a difference here. And what is it exactly? Because the Q doesn't actually kill, I don't think, here. Yeah, it's the auto! Holy, how did he get that auto animation through? Oh,
but look at that! And Slater's just immediately killed him again. This is huge, Rebel! 3 kills for Zeri in 3 minutes!
Okay, they put down the gauntlet. They say, hey, we've got the Zeri Rakan. We've got our bot lane combination that, like, supposedly is supposed to work. I didn't think it was going to. I thought, I was like, Nautilus is going to be able to beat down the Rakan. They shouldn't be under any duress. And yet here they are. Like, that's just a jump in. Like, what are we doing?
I mean, they know that Style has absolutely no summoners left, so they just come in and they just murder the man.
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason why Slater was at the top of our charts in terms of ADs this split. It has not been Style in the slightest. The one place the GAM has not found the greatest of results has been out of their bot lane duo in every single game. Not to say that they've been bad, but Slater and Paulette have been so electrifying all split, and finally, they're showing up inside of the series.
And oh no, it's about to get even worse! They've called down another friend! Style, get back to base! 4th time! 3rd, in fact. 4 kills, but 3rd time for Slater.
You gotta be kidding me. You could not ask for a better opening to this game. You couldn't write a better opening to this game than Slater on Zeri getting 4 kills. Like, what are you supposed to do now? Like, you could play as defensively as you want in both of your solo lanes. You have a 4-kill Zeri. What are you like Wukong and Lysandra are gonna have to do so much work on Slater that it's near impossible to dig themselves out of this situation at this point. Like, how do you fight literally anything?
It's absolutely brutal. Now, there might come a time where your composition starts really hurting Zeri. The question is, how do you get there? Because now you just have a void of pressure in the bot lane. It's Noon Quiver versus Longsword and Cull.
Yeah.
The first few dragons are already SBTCs. You may as well just write them in.
That they are. I mean, it's even worse too because like DNK doesn't have to worry about getting pressured out and kind of losing to Wukong either. You've got so much ability to use this bot side pressure for anything you want down here. DNK could just play split map and just say, hey, I'll take some camps away from you, like your bottom side, I'll take my bottom side camps. There's no way that Wukong's falling behind. And now Levi's the one that has to play to Gnar. Like in game 1, DNK was forced to play into the Gwen, and it's like, okay, Gwen can at least try to carry games. The Gnar's not going to carry this game. Like, it's not going to happen. Like, Levi's stuck in a really, really terrible position. To me, it feels like their best bet is to try to double down into mid lane and go, okay, let's get the Lissandra going. Let's try to get something working so that our mid game has some kind of spike to it. If the Wukong and the Lissandra are doing okay, maybe there's a chance. But if they don't get anything and they end up walking into like a 2-item Zeri at 10, 15 minutes into this game, it's lost. Like, there's nothing to be done.
The issue here is that how do you play around anything except your bot lane if you are Levi? You're not really going to go top. Emper's just a bit too slippery on the Gwen. Realistically, you're not going to kill him. Dia1 is playing super defensively on the Silas, which is exactly what he should be doing.
Yeah.
He's just sitting back and scaling. All you can do is, okay, you stole half a Raptor camp. I don't think that's going to make up for the bot lane, man.
No,
Style is caught again. This time there's not enough follow-up. There is a hook now landing onto Paulette, but no real play possible.
Yeah, it's going to be a very long time until Style can kind of get out of a very tough situation that they've been thrust into inside of this game. If they ever actually get out of it, yeah.
The knock-up, there's an Ignite as well. Slater's not able to follow, but now Style has to back. He's 20 CS down already.
He's very much like it's the wave isn't in a disastrous position right now. The wave just came in, and maybe Xin can help hold it so that there's no chance of losing. So I don't think it's going to be as monstrous here of a loss from Style. But again, this bottom lane, I was very wrong. I thought there was a whole wave there, but Slater cleared all of it. Okay, it's just gone. Yeah, they lose an entire wave on their ADC. This is, again, to say disastrous is the absolute minimum here. Like I said, there is no response to be. You can't even fight this bot lane. Like Slater and Paulette are giving nothing for Wukong to be able to do either. So it might actually legitimately be. Yeah.
He just has to stand in mid. This is the best thing that Levi can do right now. Okay, cool. You got a plate. Maybe you get 2 plates onto your Lissandra, but Dia1, he's fine. He's allowed to lose this early. He'll come into his own around skirmishes and team fights. It's not about the lane for him.
He doesn't even really care, I don't think, either. Like, even if they end up losing in mid lane, like, your number one threats are, like, Lissandra, Wukong. If they're not going crazy, they're never killing Zeri. Zeri's got Cleanse. Zeri's got a Rakan behind. If you rush Mikhails on Paulette, there's just absolutely nothing that can be done about Slater running everybody's fade on the side of GAM. So Silas doesn't even care. And again, if you start putting pressure down towards bottom side, which is, again, maybe the only thing that GAM can try to do to salvage any kind of counterplay here in the mid game, like you just end up potentially giving over a ton of pressure to the Gwen and the Silas, who are solo laters that are able to carry in their own volition. Like you said, I mean, Dia1 could full carry this game. Emperor, in the right circumstance, could full carry this game. So now it's a chess match of, okay, if you put too much into putting down Slater, if you don't, Dia1 and Emperor full carry the game, and you haven't done anything. Even if you put down Slater, the 2 solo laners could still full carry. And if you don't put pressure to bot lane, Slater's gonna full carry. It happened in the last game.
Now, this is a good move. They did move 4 down here. This gives Style something back. Unfortunately, the plates are split between 3, so he really got about 100 gold out of it. Yeah. It's nowhere near enough to catch him back up, but at least it's something. They're stemming the bleeding just a little bit.
Just a touch. Again, it's basically going to be an entire item to, maybe at best, in this right circumstances, half an item down for the Jinx underneath the Zeri to kind of kick things off. It's a tough situation to find yourself in. If you're Wukong, you really have to be leveraging topside pressure to your absolute max. So, like, there is 0 chance to be giving away things like Rift Herald. One's already down, but the second one cannot. Like, DNK cannot be given the agency to just have any sort of topside pressure whatsoever, given just how powerful the bot lane is. Otherwise, you are sacrificing so much on the side of GAM. Further, the dragon going over is really monstrous for SBTC too, because again, that means that you have a full 20 minutes before there's any threat of soul coming through from GAM, if they ever even get one, and you have the potential to kind of put them into a soul binding situation at some point as well, which is just, again, it's forcing team fights that the Gwen is, or that, this team fighting squad is going to be able to work in.
Tier 1, having a crack at Cardi. He's not going to kill him here, but he does take lane control. And importantly, he takes lane control 40 seconds before Dragon.
Yes, and Coddy's stuck because I don't think Coddy's got TP. I think his TP's down, so there's no way to get back into this lane really effectively. Deal One's just got perma shove here, and you're just gonna have to stick around and unfortunately take that if you are Coddy here, which is a tough place. Yeah, you don't TP, you have Ignite right now because you have the unsealed spellbook. So unless they force a fight here in mid lane, which actually might be in the benefit of GAM, to be quite honest, if DNK goes rushing forward, yeah, I'm happy they didn't end up getting baited by that. Because if Wukong comes in and they've got Ignite and they've got Coddy's kit, like there's basically no way to win that circumstance in any way.
Oh, but never mind when the Rakan comes up. That is a last second ultimate. They do manage to avoid the Jinx rocket. Cardi managing to get away. And with GAM reinforcing, Levi flashing forward for the second half of the Cyclone depth charge, but he's way too far under tower. Ooh, hook landing, forcing a flash. This is a misstep from SBTC. I think this loses them Dragon.
It might, and they're going to lose a bit of mid lane tower, but the fact that they didn't lose any members for this is actually disgustingly astonishing. Like, nobody went down. It was really well played by a number of members to cover to make sure there were no skill shots, no auto attacks, nothing that could come through onto the members to start maybe style being electrifying. And Slater's trading plates on the other side. Like, even if they grab mid lane tower, Slater still getting solo plates is probably sufficient for them to feel fine. Levi's going to run a Dragon. DNK's got no support outside of Slater right now. We'll see if they decide to full commit for it, but I don't even know that they can.
This is very dangerous. I feel like GAM might have been able to full commit to it, given that Slater hasn't reset in a while. The item parity on the ADCs is actually even right now. Once Slater goes back, he's going to accelerate very far ahead. But until he goes back, the gold doesn't do anything for him. GAM doesn't feel confident enough, though, and it's going to be an Ocean Drake given to SBTC.
And again, if they don't go for plates in mid lane and they end up don't extending looking for kills and stuff and they just turn right for Dragon, I think you're right in that would have been your best bet because Slater doesn't have the gold. The NK was still as low health as possible. You had the numbers advantage on the bottom side. Like, there's basically no way for them to have any kind of counterplay around the Dragon. The only real fear in that case would be a re-engage out of DNK if DL1 shows up, if Paulette shows up after the fact, but that felt like a little bit of a far-fetched kind of proposition in my mind. So I think they had a lot of potential to go for Dragon. They choose against it instead to get some gold back, but all it does is free up bot lane.
Yeah, DL1 in some trouble, tries to sidestep, gets a Kingslayer. He dodges away, he's out!
No way. The rocket also just didn't even tag, which means that, like, Style should have probably gotten that kill, should have been gifted it over. Yeah, like you said, he sidestepped, he got the Kingslayer, like, there was nothing left in the tank, and their whole time, there's no pressure bot lane, so they're just continuing to allow Slater to do anything that he pleases on the bottom side of the map.
Rebel, I could already hear it. I could hear the Silver Scrapes playing. DL1, Levi having a clash, the Cyclone comes out, Tetrasite burst comes in. DL1 is ruling the mid lane.
You gotta be kidding me. Like, this is ridiculous coming out from this team. Where has this SBTC been?
I told him to pick Silas. I told him.
You did. And it's working out great. Like, look at this. Like, they have the full combo. They have everything. The only thing missing is that DL1 was able to stop them. The little sidestep. How do you sidestep? How do you make that decision? You go, I'm going to step back into these two, and I'm going to be at 10 health points left, and then I will Kingslayer and simply walk out like a Giga Chat. And then stepping back to kill Levi with the cojones on the
laughter. Oh, this man! We love this! Oh my word! This is why Silas got his own video game. Plays like that.
Unbelievable. It's unbelievable. The dinner break gap, man. Like, somehow SBTC was losing this game. They get the dinner break. They're right back to on top. And now GAM, they might be on the receiving end of the exact same thing that won them this series in their first meeting. We're looking like we're going to game 5.
This is a fantastic performance out of SBTC's roster. We haven't seen much out of Empus. We'll leave him out of the conversation for now. DL1 highlight plays. Slater absolutely killing the bot side with Paulette. This is insane. We are looking at a potential game 5. We're not there yet, of course. We've got a long way to go. But my word, has this series just gotten exciting. Oh, Kiaya!
What? Okay. I'm gonna wait for the replay to say what I want to say about that situation, but I'm gonna hold it until then, because that was I don't even know what that was. At minimum, it does give Kiaya space to get some turret damage on top side, but it just doesn't matter because you're not getting much on Gnar. They're not plates left, and DNK is going to go diving in now.
DNK wants him, knows that there's no Mega Gnar, but I don't think this one's actually going to work out. So kind of just wastes his ult, but it's okay. Can still clear the wave.
Okay, nothing crazy. How has no one responded to DO1? Seconds ago, I was like, DO1's pushing bottom tower. Okay, so I'm guessing this is a flash prediction.
Yeah, maybe.
Oh, wait. Does she have glass? She doesn't have flash. No, okay, so that was...
that's just bad.
That was the worst fucking Gnar flash ultimate I've ever seen in my entire life. That is my most warranted F-bomb I've ever dropped. It's like one of 3 I've dropped on broadcast. That was horrible.
Paulette has now been caught, taken down.
This seems mental doom, parents.
And they don't have a dinner break. Hardcake's got to be in the ref's office on his knees. Please, we're still hungry. Come on.
He's got to go buy one of those like individual burner things to start boiling water so he could try to cook something in the meantime to give them a break.
He's not even watching the game. He's in the bathroom making sink noodles.
He's got ramen. Yeah, he's got ramen on because he's trying to get something going. Because this is not looking great for the side of GAM. They're so far behind. And it's even worse because this is the recipe that should be working for them. It's what won them the first 2 games was the Wukong, the Lysandra, the Jinx, Nautilus. It's 4 of the same 5 members that they won the first 2 games with in less than 20 minutes that is just getting evaporated in this game.
And we have to keep this going for SBTC. We don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves. It's only about 1,500 gold at the moment. You do have Enpa, who's not super far ahead. He's actually behind. This is wild. They need to activate the Zeri. That's the big thing. You need to play around this Slater core that is so far ahead.
They do. They're not super far ahead in gold. And it's the thing is that this composition isn't necessarily even designed to be super great to begin the game, but now that you're starting to break first items, I mean, like, Emperor and DO1 should be ready and raring to go. Slater's already on, like, basically 2 full items with the Runaans. Like, they should be willing to fight. They should be willing to take battles around this next dragon that's going to be coming up.
They should be. Look where DO1 is. He's on a very deep flank. That vision plant gives them full awareness of where everyone on GAM is. You can see GAM immediately has to just leave the river. They just say, we don't have enough information. Get to somewhere that's a bit safer. And the pincers are here.
They just, like GAM is so pinched right now. It's ridiculous. Like, they're stuck in such a bad situation. They're also down 2 dragons, so giving the 3rd dragon over to the side of SBTC
it's an infernal.
Would be... Yeah, it's another Infernal Soul. Like, what are you supposed to do?
DO1 recalls. He has teleport. Goes to the tower. Not ideal. There's going to be a few seconds where he's not able to enter this fight. The fight begins. A lot of damage immediately. DNK has been blown up. I'm watching Slater. He's been altered. He's been taken down. He's in so much trouble. Can he get anything done? He can't. GAM are going to come out on top in this fight unless DO1 can absolutely rule the world. He's going to get cooldowns reset off this. He goes over the wall. Can he fight? I think he could afford this, mate. And he can. He goes back in, tries to slay the king. Petrified burst, not quite enough. Shut down.
Okay, he gets 1 in return. The fight is super scattered from the side of SBTCE. They never really get an option for Slater. They never really get to use all of the damage that they've accumulated to this point, and it gives GAM just a touch of breathing room in this game, and that might be the one momentum swap they needed. They have stumbled again and 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 again, and finally, GAM gets something back. Finally, GAM.
And we can't go to a replay right now. This is okay. There's things happening on the map, but let's have a look at this replay.
Okay, again, it's the pressure that they put onto Slater. Look at that. Somehow it's the Nautilus and it's the Lysandra that get onto him, and that means your primary damage healer's down. Then Emperor and DO1 have to carry, and I was saying first item spike, maybe they're willing to make the fight happen. Maybe they're willing to actually have. But without their primary damage healer, it's just not quite enough. 2-3 items, there's a 1 fight still from SBTCE, but this early, not quite there. So, again, maybe it's a bit big for our britches. We were calling for it a little bit more, but we weren't anticipating Slater getting driven out that quickly in the fight. So, again, props to the side of GAM, finding the right fight coming through. GAM did also end up getting the dragon, so nothing pressured on them.
And that's pulled the gold back to even. We have a game on our hands. We need Slater to play safer. He does have cleanse, but it wasn't enough in that fight. He wasn't able to get it done. We need to see Enpa doing more, and we need to not have silly mistakes like DO1 TPing to a tower that was just too far away. We can see how strong he is. He nearly 1v3'd the back end of that fight.
Yeah, this has to be like the mental resilience angle from SBTCE is now also being challenged. If you're a GAM and you go down 4 kills in the bot lane to start things off, if you're losing in basically every lane to start things off, it's really tough to pull things back. So a situation like that, where SBTCE has this massively winning in terms of itemization, in terms of everything, you're feeling really confident, you're ready to just start fighting, you're ready to start pushing your advantage, and then you stumble out of the gate like that, has to be really hard to deal with. What a confidence breaker, what a confidence shift in momentum that you have here between the two teams walking into this game. It's still really good for SBTCE. They're still fine. They still have the Gwen. They still have the Silas. They still got this massive kind of Zeri in the bot lane to work on, but they have to remain in the driver's seat. They have to remain confident in their ability to take fights.
The one thing to keep in mind as well is just item breakpoints. Jinx at 2 items is more threatening than Zeri at 2.5 items. 3 items is where Zeri really becomes that disgusting monster we all know about. Needs the Navori quick plays to get that ultimate damage. He's halfway to it. The next fight should be where we really see Slater's lead realized.
Yes, once Navori is kind of brought about, and that's a decent distance away because the advantage has kind of been dropped down to only about 1,100 gold. It seems like the Caulfields is basically the one difference between the two, which isn't a massive difference in terms of what the two of these have in itemization. So Style has caught up effectively. The other big things, Zonia's done for Dia1, which means he can frontline a little bit better. That's a massive item breakpoint. Wit's End is done for Kiaya, which means it's a lot harder for Dia1 and Emperor to kind of shred through him like paper, like they would normally, especially earlier on in the game, especially in Meganar when you've got all your flat stats. So both teams, I mean, the engines of war are running. We are in an arms race right now to see who's going to be able to get up to snuff faster. And notably, again, Dragons, I think, are going to be the big difference maker because these two teams are relatively even on every... Can we take it? Okay. There have been so many little brain fart situations this game. I know these teams are stressed. Like, I have to give 100% apology. Like, these two teams, like, with the number of things you are constantly worrying about in a game like this, especially when it's so close, I have to forgive all of them. So I am not going to harass anybody for making any more mistakes because I would be in a much tenser position than even they would be in a circumstance like this. So I can't imagine the type of pressure that they're under right now.
Of course, we've got to say, these teams are playing for MSI. GAM, we know, we have a good enough relationship with some of GAM's coaching staff to know that they really want this. The fact that they didn't go to MSI last year really hurt them. Like, not physically, obviously, but emotionally, they really wanted to go. Yeah, we hit
I did.
It was Hunke's belt. But anyway, they really want to go, and SBTC really want to prove themselves as an organization. SBTC is a super hyped org, but doesn't really have results to back up the hype. If they could win this, if they could come back, reverse sweep the Kings of Vietnam, that is a huge notch on your belt as SBTC Esports.
The circle of SBTC, for anybody who doesn't know, is this massive meme where the team looks good and then they start having strife and then there's internal issues and then they end up falling out of playoffs at the end of the split because they always look good and then they always fall out of playoffs. This is a split that has kind of transcended that circle for the first time ever. And so doing this would maybe break the witch's coven that somebody has put upon this poor organization because they've always had a very competitive team. They've always had a team that looks like it's ready to take the next step and go to the next level, get into playoffs, start challenging for some of the top positions, but they just haven't ever done it until now, where they're sitting across from GAM, game number 4. This is going to be a crazy game. If they win this one, it is going to be really hard for GAM to find a way to break their momentum walking into the 5th game of the series. You're looking at down the barrel of a reverse sweep potentially on the side of GAM. And so I think this is your best bet now. I think you really don't want to push this into game 5.
They're going to go in. Oh, no, it's all gone wrong as Paulette just got immediately Lissandra ulted. Can they follow up with that being down? Dia1 actually doesn't get an ultimate. He doesn't have anything to work with because of the stopwatch. Slater on the periphery of the fight. In goes the Wukong. Levi, he's a little bit overextended though. The Gwen has gone down. This is a disaster for SBTC. They simply can't do this.
No.
TNK falling, Slater melting away. GAM are just better in team fights. Slater will live, but living's not enough.
The engagement comes out so much faster from SBTCE. It's very, very simple. In fact, actually, Kiaya is maybe even going to find Slater here.
Dash under the tower. It's going to be one more auto attack to take him down. But did he buy enough time for them to at least move to Soul Point? I think he did.
I think I think they did. I think the trade-off is Baron for soul points. And again, SBTC's composition is still getting its bearings, still finding a lot of power. Once you hit 2, 3, 4 items, like I said, Slater's still waiting too.
Oh no, they're resetting, so he does.
Yeah, they're resetting. Yeah, they're nothing crazy. TP is going to come in too. I think they were worried that they were going to beeline here. They didn't necessarily need it. Instead, they'll just confirm this, which is threatening. Again, Infernal Soul is a threatening thing that SBTC now has that is unrespondable by GAM. Like, there is nothing they can do. They have to wait 10 minutes basically to get this back. So GAM has to do damage now. Like, they have to use this Baron buff effectively, because if they wait and they keep taking fights around objectives, what exactly okay, that is just a drastic overextension by DNK.
Yeah, and I never want to flame a player too hard in a final, but DNK is having a shocker.
Yes. That was if you're looking for a pick or something, that makes sense. He's in Mininar, and you get the Rakan, and like you kind of pair up on that. And if you find it, it's big, because then your main frontliner on the side of GAM has just disappeared from the fight. A gig damage dealer is kind of gone from a fight. You get a solid pick, right? But it's just too much to index into that when you don't have the rest of the support of your team, and when you're trying to make sure that you can make a dragon play, when you can not give up a massive neutral objective. As again, that gives GAM a big kind of swing in this game. It's their first big gold advantage, being up about 3,500.
There was a few disasters. One is D1 didn't get to steal an ultimate. Oh no, we've got a catch here. That's another disaster, as Paulette has just been found and destroyed. He's not been having a good 0 and 5 after such a good start. He's just been constantly getting caught. But in that last fight, D1 did not get an ultimate. The stopwatch completely blocks the hijack. They're just pushing up. They're just going to try and win the series.
I think they're going to try to. And I think they need to as well. The faster that they win this game, the better. Because, again, as the game continues to slog on for SBTCE, I know they had the advantage at the beginning. They weren't able to push down the pedal and kind of take this game by the horns. But the big thing is, again, when you start hitting 4 item mark, SBTC's composition doesn't get less scrappy, doesn't get less powerful. It just continues getting more and more menacing. Kadi's damage is eventually going to fall off. Eventually, Kiaya and Levi, like, their damage isn't going to be massively kind of top-ended. And Style is still the one that was relatively slow at the beginning of this game, which means there was a lot of deficit he had to work through. Yes, they're back to a gold advantage, but it's not likely all in Style. It's likely kind of dispersed among the rest of these members. And so you have to still be careful. You don't want to give up Infernal Soul. That's one big win condition that SBTC can kind of work for. And so if you're GAM, you have to do damage without giving back a counterpunch to SBTC.
I feel like there needs to be a mentality shift from DNK. He can't be doing these deep dive initiations. That's Enper's job. Let Enper find the flank, ghost in, and try and assassinate Style. You need to play Bouncer Vi. You are defending Slater at all costs. You can't go as deep as you were. You need to get this Wukong off of your AD carry.
Is that just Wukong too? Because there's been actually, I'm going to hold this because it looks
hang
like
on a minute. There's an engage and there's a teleport coming in as well, and they're just leaving Dia1 out to dry. What's the point?
I don't know. They go rushing in. They go running in, sprinting to try to find a fight, and then they just bail on it. Like, they just go away. And that just gives a numbers advantage to the side of GAM. It gives them the ability to take bot inner, takes the ability to take the bot inhibitor tower, maybe the entire bot inhibitor. Which is going to set up their dragon. Like, they're never going to have access.
With that hook landing, I think they're just going to take the game. As Gwen goes down, they just can't defend. DK throws himself into the backside, gets immediately melted. It's Slater and Paulette versus the world. This is the push for MSI, Rebel. GAM coming in. The ultimate from Slater coming out. There is a lockdown onto Paulette. He manages to dance away. They're dodging for now. The health bars are not amazing for GAM. But Slater, this is your moment. You have to be a star if you want to keep your team alive. I don't think it's possible. I think we're about to see GAM winning the VCS, and they are going to MSI.
Not an unexpected result, but for how? SBTC, man, you have so much advantage at the beginning of this game. You have a perfect bottom lane setup, and you cannot transition. The resolve of GAM to be able to get through that is astonishing. And again, it takes me back to like wondering if SBTC just had a bit of breakage there when they weren't able to capitalize on that first dragon fight, that big kind of engagement between the two teams. If that was what kind of did them in, because they couldn't figure out how to get back into the game from that point. GAM, resilient as all hell. Even through all the trials and tribulations, even through all of the tilting early game actions that they took, still able to come out on top as our #1 team here in Vietnam again.
And this is a team with so much legacy. As they lift the trophy, they will be heading international. This is a team that has qualified for so many international events that didn't get to play them due to the pandemic. They went to Worlds last year, and sure, they didn't get out of the group, but they shocked some teams. They were the missile that took down Top Esports, and now they're heading straight to London to be the Vietnamese representatives at the Mid-Season Invitational. And my word, I couldn't ask for a better team to do it.
No, and you could see for a second there, like, everybody is really excited, but you could see how exhilarated Cotty is, because, again, it has been Cotty for such a long time that's been on winning teams. Basically, since 2019, he is the only mid laner that's been this dominant. Would he lose one split in the entire time since 2019? And he's never been to MSI before, which is a tragedy. And so seeing him get all giddy when he's lifting the trophy, finally getting their MSI qualification, you gotta love that kind of... those little moments make up esports in such an amazing way, especially here in the VCS. We've had a lot of those, and that was one of my favorites I think I've ever seen on broadcast.
It was an incredible performance. They came back from the edge of disaster, showing that they had the resilience, even when their